When I was 10, we moved into my grandmother's old house in Aracaju. It was a small place with creaky floors, stained ceilings, and a cold, musty basement that no one ever used. The basement door was right beside the kitchen, and I felt uncomfortable walking past it, like something was watching me from the other side. My little brother, Lucas, was only 5. He didn't talk too much, but after a few days in the house, he started acting strange. He would sit at the top of the basement stairs and stare down into the dark, whispering things I couldn't hear. One day, I asked him what he was looking at. He didn't answer right away. Then he pointed and said softly, "There are eyes down there. They blink at me." I told our parents, but they brushed it off. Just his imagination, they said. Kids see things when they are scared of the dark. But Lucas wasn't scared. He kept going back. Then things started happening. At night, I heard footsteps coming from the basement. Slow, heavy ones. I told myself it was the house settling, old pipes creaking. But one night, the footsteps stopped right at my bedroom door. I froze under the blanket. The handle didn't move, but I swear I heard breathing. A few days later, I found Lucas talking to someone in the basement. The door was open and he was crouched on the top step. When I asked him who he was talking to, he looked up at me and smiled. "She wants me to come down now." I slammed the door shut. I told my parents again, but they didn't listen. That night, I pushed a chair in front of the basement door while everyone was asleep. But by morning, Lucas was gone. We searched the whole house. Nothing. The police came. No sign of him. But the basement door was wide open, even though the chair was still there, untouched. We never found Lucas. A week later, I walked past the stairs and felt something cold brush against my foot. I looked down. From the darkness below, 2 small glowing eyes blinked, slowly, deliberately. They were the same eyes my brother had described. I don't live in the house anymore. My parents moved out years ago. But sometimes when I dream, I see those stairs. I hear Lucas' voice whispering, "She say you can come down now too." And the eyes blink again, waiting. My aunt passed away last year, and I inherited her old house in Teresina. It was a crumbling, 2-story place on the edge of town, the kind of house people walked past a little faster. No one in the family wanted it, especially after she went mad during her final days, muttering about faces in the walls. I moved in anyway. The basement was locked. My aunt had nailed wooden boards across the door, painted strange red symbols over it, and stuffed garlic and salt in every crack. I thought she was just sick in the head. I cleared it all out and opened the door. The air inside was wrong, hot and damp like a body exhaling. The basement wasn't dusty like I accepted. It was clean, too clean. The walls were covered in wallpaper, thick and textured like an old leather. The room was empty except for a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling and a rusty hook in the center of the floor. I remember thinking, why wallpaper a basement? Curious, I peeled back a corner near the floor. What I saw wasn't wallpaper. It was skin, human skin, dried, stretched flat, sewn together in a large panels and glued to the walls. Some pieces still had tattoos. A face, shriveled, mouth frozen open, stared back at me from the next sheet. I stumbled back and vomited. I tried to run, but the light bulb flickered and went out. That's when I heard the whispering, low, wet voices coming from the walls. They were saying my name. I bolted upstairs, slammed the door and nailed it shut. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I returned with a flashlight and forced myself to go back down. The skin was gone. The walls were bare, smooth cement, like nothing had ever been there. But in the middle of the floor, beneath the hook, was a single strip of a human skin, fresh, still moist. I moved out the same day. A few nights later, I had a dream. I was in that room, staring at the walls. Only this time the skin on the walls had my tattoo, my birthmark, my face. When I woke up, my back was burning. I look in the mirror and find a red line across my shoulder, like someone had started to peel me. I don't know what my aunt was trying to keep locked in that basement, but whatever it was, I think it remembers me and it wants me back. I was renting a small house in Campinas while studying at university. It was old, a bit damp, and the landlord warned me not to mess with the basement. He said the door down there was sealed for a reason. I thought he was being dramatic. A week after moving in, I finally went down to laundry. The basement was quiet, colder than the rest of the house. That's when I noticed it. A metal door set into the wall. It had no handle, no keyhole, no visible way to open it. Just a solid black slab of iron, bolted into the cracked concrete. The air near the door felt colder, heavier. I stepped closer and knocked once. It echoed like there was a huge empty space behind it. That's when I heard it. 3 knocks from the other side. I jumped back, laughed nervously, told myself it was pipes or air pressure or just my imagination. But the next night I heard it again. 3 knocks. Soft, deliberate, and they didn't stop. They came every night, always just after 3 a.m. Always 3 knocks. I asked my landlord again. He didn't look surprised. He just said, "Don't answer it. Whatever's behind that door, it's Remember's voice." Now I was terrified. One night I couldn't sleep. The knocking started again, but this time a voice came with it. It whispered, "Please, let me out." The voice was childlike, gentle but not right, like someone trying to sound human, but getting it slightly wrong. I didn't answer. I couldn't. Then it whispered again, "I'm cold, I'm hungry, don't you remember me?" I ran upstairs and stayed awake till morning. I tried to ignore it, but the voice grew louder each night. It started saying my name, not just whispering it, but begging, "Let me out, just for a minute, I'll be good this time." I never told anyone. I was too afraid. People would think I was losing my mind. Then one night I woke up with the dirt under my nails, and the basement door opened. The iron door was cracked open just an inch, and a soft whisper came through the gap. "Thank you." I sealed it shut with furniture, salt, anything I could find it. I moved out the next day, but sometimes at night, no matter where I am, I still hear knocking. 3 times, always at 3 a.m., and always followed by that voice. "You already opened it once, you cannot lock me out forever." I work in a construction in Sao Paulo, and last year we were hired to restore an old Catholic church in the city center. It was a beautiful place, but half of it was falling apart. The priest asked us to be careful. He said the church had the secrets buried beneath it. We thought he was joking. On the third day of work, I was breaking old tiles behind the altar when my hammer hit something hollow. I cleared away the dust and found a small metal ring buried in the floor, a trapdoor. I called over my co-worker, and together we prayed it open. A narrow stone staircase led into the darkness. The air was cold, far too cold for a summer day in Brazil. We pointed a flashlight down and saw a small basement lined with stone walls. In the center was a rusted chair bolted to the floor. Chains hung from the arms and legs. There were scratch marks on the floor, and dozens of burned crucifixes around the room. We didn't tell the priest. We didn't tell anyone. But that night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the chair, the chains, and the strange symbols carved into the stone. They weren't in Portuguese or Latin, just strange, twisting marks like eyes and teeth. The next day I went back early, alone. I don't know why, curiosity maybe. I told myself I just wanted a closer look. I climbed down into the basement with a flashlight and stood in front of the chair. That's when I heard the whisper. It said my name, soft, right behind me. I turned around, no one was there. I started climbing back up, but the trapdoor slammed shut. I was trapped. I banged and screamed, but no one heard me. Then I heard the chains. They were rattling. I turned and the chair was empty, but the chains were moving, slowly, dragging across the floor like something was crawling. My flashlight began to flicker. I aimed it at the far corner, and for a split second I saw something tall, with no face, crawling toward me. The trapdoor burst open, and I scrambled out, shaking. My co-workers were there, asking what happened. I said nothing. I couldn't speak. The next day, the priest sealed the trapdoor with concrete. He never asked what we saw. But sometimes, when I walk past the church, I hear something deep below the ground, whispering my name. I moved into my grandmother's old house in Recife after she passed away. The place had been empty for a long time, dusty and filled with the smell of mold and old wood. The basement was the worst. Small, damp, and dark. She always kept it locked. I never knew why. A few weeks after moving in, I started renovating. I wanted to turn the basement into a music room. While tearing down part of the wall to fix the wiring, I found a small wooden box hidden behind the bricks. Inside was an old VHS tape with no label, just a strip of black tape over the name. I still had a working VCR, so I played it. The footage was shaky and in black and white. It showed a teenage girl tied to a chair in a basement, my basement. She was screaming in a language I didn't recognize. Her eyes were wide and her voice sounded like more than one person speaking at once. Then I saw my grandmother. She was standing beside the girl, holding a rosary, whispering prayers. The girl started thrashing and suddenly stopped, staring directly at camera. That's when she said my name, clear, loud, like she had been waiting. I froze. I couldn't move. I paused the tape. How did she know my name? The tape was dated 1988, I was born in 1995. I threw the tape back in the box and shoved it into the closet. That night, I couldn't sleep. The basement felt alive. I heard banging from beneath the floor and soft whispering just below my bedroom. The next day, the box was sitting on the kitchen table. I hadn't touched it. The tape was out, halfway rejected. I smashed it, burned the pieces in the yard. That night, the house went cold. Lights flickered. My TV turned on by itself, showing static, and through the noise, I heard the girl's voice. I know you now. I moved out next morning. Before I left, I called the priest to bless the house. He asked if anything had ever been sealed in the basement walls. I told him no. He looked at me and said, then something still wants to get out. I don't know what happened to the girl in that video, but I know my grandmother kept her locked behind that walls for a reason, and now it knows my name.